a lot of times I would set up my iPhone in the corner and would record ourselves playing. I'd bring back the mix and mix it, but I only do that so the three of us could sit down drinking beers, watching ourselves. Kind of egotistical, but it's great.
He is the bassist and vocalist of three-piece rock band APE. They're from Ireland and formed during the pandemic. Since then, they've released an album and played multiple festivals, and you may know them from their songs Antimatter or Out of Sight. Please welcome Kerry to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm not too bad. And again, thank you very much for having me on, Ryan. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited to talk to you, get to know a bit more about, your band in general, how you started, why you started, everything like that.
Sounds good to me anyway.
Hey, if you're like me and you're interested in the YouTube or creator space, you should check out The Published Press. The Published Press is a completely free newsletter founded by YouTubers Colin and Samir. They host their own podcast talking to some of YouTube's largest creators. They've edited some of the best content I've seen on YouTube, and now they're sharing their knowledge about the YouTube space with you for free. The Published Press comes out 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with everything going on with your favorite creators and platforms. And like I said, it's completely free. Just enter your email address to receive the Published Press whenever it comes out, and that's it. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below, sign up to the Published Press, and get all the info you need on the industry. So just first question, what was your first experience with music like, or what made you want to pursue music as a career?
Well, mainly it started as a hobby. My grandfather here in Ireland started the brass band. It was like a kind of a show band and that. So I got drafted into that because everyone in the family had to do it. So I was playing like the French horn and that, which I didn't really like. I couldn't play it at all. All that came out of it was just spit. I was terrible at it, so I went, that's not for me. But I think the first time I really, really got into music was I went to France on a school tour back in the 80s, and I saw the cover for Ozzy Osbourne's Bark at the Moon, which he was a werewolf, and I loved werewolf movies. So I picked that up and I got straight into heavy metal, and that's where my kind of musical journey started. And I was just lucky enough that people I hung out with when I was growing up were musicians, so I used to just hang around with them, and I kind of learned everything by ear. Like I started off in a band playing drums, then I went to see a Slipknot concert and went, oh, Christ, I'll never play like that. So I gave them up, went on to guitar, and then I just gravitated towards bass. I actually did a stint for a while doing, of course, my cat jumped up, but I did a stint for a while doing soundtracks for indie movies as well. I'm big into video games, video game music, and soundtracks. That's my actually my biggest love.
Nice. What games do you play normally?
Well, I tell you, I've been playing games since like the Mega Drive. The last 6 years, I've kind of been put off because it's all like these battle royales and looter shooters, and it kind of put me off. But I actually big into playing Warzone DMZ at the moment with my brother. I kind of like that, even though I don't like those battle royale games. But that's really a cool one. I finished Cyberpunk there a while ago. I loved it, and not too. I do all my gaming on PC. I kind of gave it up. I had the PlayStation 4, but never got the PS5 because I just love PC gaming now. I'm one of the elite, as they say.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
yourself? Do you play yourself?
Yeah, I play a little bit on PC, but mostly Xbox. And I've
Oh,
been
cool.
really into Overwatch 2 lately. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw it. I always watch clips of that, but it's just for me, it's kind of a bit too cartoony. But my friends play it now and all that. But I kind of I used to love we used to have a big clan running when we were doing like all the battlefields. But the last battlefield was pretty bad when it was released. But I kind of like hooking up like with Friday night, which would be tomorrow night. We usually meet up with a load of beers and go mental online. That's great fun. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Just the next question I have for you, what tips or advice would you give to other people just starting their music career?
the the only thing I could give, my God, if anyone knew I was giving advice, they'd actually be laughing now. But just do it if you love it. Like I just loved it. Like now, I didn't go to classes. No, I wasn't taught or anything because my parents are cool like that. My dad especially would think that that would put me off music. So kind of learn, and I just love doing it. And especially nowadays when you have your PC, like I've done about 10 different albums and 10 different guys. It's just because it's so easy to record on PC. Like just do it because you love it and meet the same kind of people that you like that are into the same thing as well. Like like I never ever once did this for money or anything like that. It'd be great, all right, to live a life like that, but I just do it as a hobby and then see what happens from there.
Yeah, yeah, nice. Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. It's super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program. Forming the band you have now, APE, how did you come up with that band name? What are the origins behind that?
Oh,
Everything like that.
yeah, that's cool. Well, actually, Andy, he's the that writes. His name is Andrew Palfreyman. So APE is actually, is it an acronym? Is that the right word? Something like that. It stands for the Andrew Palfreyman Experiment. That's what APE stands for because he had the songs written and he's had them for a while, but he got me and the drummer Eamon involved now. Andy's a bit older, so he's into like 70s kind of rock. I'm into death metal and all that kind of stuff. And our drummer's into Avril Lavigne and uh, Alice in Chains. So it is a kind of experiment, a melding of different genres. So we each have our input into it, and it kind of worked, and people kind of liked it, and that's why, like we only formed because you know what an off licenses, do you? Where you go to buy booze and that.
No, I don't
I
know.
That's what well where you go to buy booze. I met him downstairs during the COVID lockdown, and like we've known each other for years, like but never really friendly. He's like, you play, you can play bass, can't you? And I was like, I can, yeah. He goes, do you want to join myself and aim and because there's nothing else to do. So we just started jamming for 2 years. Every Saturday I had a laugh, and then next thing we had like 14 songs. Andy had them already written, but we kind of changed them when we add our bits to it, and
Yeah. Yeah.
now we just released an album. We're playing a lot locally here, and we've been asked to play in a festival in England as well. So it's going good. But again, it all came apart as a hobby. Like we all been playing music for different bands throughout the years, and all kind of knew each other because uh, we're from Ennis. Now Andy's from England actually, but we're living in Ennis, which is a small town on the west coast of Ireland. Uh, Probably about 25,000 people. So we've crossed paths a lot of times over the years, and what started as just out of boredom during COVID, and we ended up with the band. Like, and it's great now. Like, we're just doing. I mean, I wish this happened to be 20 years ago, but sure, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, that's great that, you're like you used the pandemic as, to create something or start something
Yeah,
new.
something positive
And
came out of it.
and you've continued it going forward now that
Hmm.
we're towards the end of it. So that's great. Um, do you have sort of one, maybe it's a person in your life or just another music artist that has just like really inspired you to do what you're doing?
Yeah, actually, Howard Shore, I'd say he did the soundtrack for Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
Um, when I was big into soundtracks, like, even when I saw the original Star Wars, I think, Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves, even though he was awful in that, I just gravitated towards soundtracks. So my girlfriend at the time brought me to Switzerland at the time to see Howard Shore perform with the live orchestra doing Lord of the Rings, like, and I'd say I cried from the start to the end, like, and I remember I got to meet him, and I did this big speech made up, going, "Oh my god, I can't wait to tell you how much you changed your life." And I walked up to the queue, looked at him, he signed the thing, and I walked off. I chickened out, but definitely him, because
Yeah,
I again, like, especially, like, I mean, one of the best games ever made, Gears of War, the soundtrack to that, I still listen to, like,
yeah, yeah,
so um, like, I'd be mainly into metal and that, but I can't really think offhand who in that genre inspired me, but I definitely know it was Howard Shore when Lord of the Rings came out. Just when, man, I got to get into all that orchestral stuff. You can do that. I'd be key. I have
yeah.
I bought a software program that was about 2 grand, just in my PC, but it was so good that when I came home from the pub drunk, and if I fell asleep on the keyboard, I'd have a full soundtrack. It was brilliant. So
Yeah,
that's
nice.
technology's gotten so good now, but definitely Howard Shore would be mine.
Yeah. Um, and I guess like when you came in to try to make these songs that had already been written, uh, was that different for you for in any way, like trying to fit into something that there was already a vision for, or like did you
Oh,
feel sort of like confined at all, or was it still very creative
no,
and flowing?
that's a great question. No, at the start, I wouldn't say playing what I was told to play, but getting used to songs. But how we used to practice is we used to we'd practice in a small little room where
Hmm.
we would have a electronic kit, my bass, and his guitar, but we'd all be hooked up to headphones into a Zoom that would record all our stuff. So what I used to do then is I would take that home with me, and I'd leave the bass lines out, and I'd sit here and I'd get drunk and I'd start playing some fast bass stuff and send it back to Andy, going, "I'm only joking about this now, but what do you think of this?" And he went, "Oh man, that's killer." So no, Andy's always said to me from the start, we're on the same page. Just do what you do. I just don't want to be a metal band. So, but that was about no. It's very free. It's the best experience I've ever had. I played in a couple of death metal bands here, but this has been the most fun. Like, I love doing it. That's probably why. And Eamon's the same. Like, and Eamon, the drummer, like, the band before us, he was in an electronic band, kind of like a. I don't know if you're familiar with Massive Attack and that kind of electronic
No,
beat, Chemical
no,
Brothers. But and he's played at one of Ireland's biggest festivals here. So, and he's loving being a rock drummer now, and he's very
yeah,
good. Like, so.
yeah, nice. And when you would have these sessions with each other, like trying to play, was there inspiration you took for anything for the sound you wanted, or was it just sort of going based off of the idea of the song?
No, I think another good question. Well, I was kind of I can never shut my brain off. In fact, I drive the lads demented most of the time. I'd be sending them texts. I've got this great idea. They'd answer me back if it's good. But I was saying to Andy that with his style of music, the way he does riffs different to me, that I could picture like a sound from Nirvana's album Nevermind, or System of a Down's album, or something like that. So we just go with, because he gave me, like, he called here, and I did all the mixing and mastering of the albums, like, so he always gives me great feedback into it. No, it just fit. There was never any. Sometimes we'd be jamming, I'd be trying something a bit too complicated, and he's okay, lad, stop. It's not working. I'm okay, because I need to hear that. Otherwise, the band would be
Yeah,
gone death metal with a 1,000 piece orchestra in it, which wouldn't suit at all. Like,
yeah. It wouldn't suit it at all, but it'd be original. I'll give you that
yeah,
much.
I know, yeah, but that another thing about that, Ryan, is how are we going to do that live as a three piece? Because
Yeah, yeah.
Andy plays the keyboards and guitar and sings. Like, we kind of saying we'd like a full time keyboardist, but that's working out as it is. Like, so,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it is kind of, to us here in the, it's kind of an, I don't know, original. It's definitely kind of unique style of rock. Only, well, I think that because it's not the type of music I would have ever thought I would have listened to a while ago. It's got like people that hear it go, "Oh, it's got I can hear punk in it, I can hear death metal weirdly enough, and I can hear psychedelic rock or electronic stuff." So, it's kind of hard to put their foot on for people, so
Yeah, yeah. And so even though right now it's just the three of you, you're still do you think you're still very open to like bring new people in, whether it's just like for a song, for a live performance, whatever. You're still very collaborative in general.
yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. It's just like, and you would have a full song written, like, from start to finish, uh, and it would always end up, like, either 10 times faster. It wouldn't be too different in the structure of it, but it would just be
Mhm.
like, he lets me do whatever ever on bass, like, 'cause, that's I've only really been a full-time bass player since I joined their band 2 years ago, but I always loved the bass. I was big into Korn and all that back in the day, that new age metal, Rage Against the Machine. I always gravitated towards the bass, like, so, but he lets me go full whack in it, and in, like, 2 years, like, I've actually loved the instrument, and it's improved me just from playing with them, like, I'd never have gotten to that stage without those two guys.
Yeah, nice. And so I just wanted to ask, like,
Mm.
if you sort of got this chance to work with any artist in the world to like bring in and work with Ape on a song, what artist or band would you want to work with?
Gee, my god. I don't think anything the lads would like anyway, but, I don't know, it's a bad question, I've never thought of that. Obviously, producer-wise, it'd have to be Rick Rubin, who's done all Slipknot and all those,
Yeah,
uh, as for a musician, Howard Shore's orchestra, maybe. Well, it's not his orchestra, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. A keyboardist definitely. I can't remember what his name is. He's from a band called Dream Theater, but definitely he'd like do all the guitar solos on the keyboards and everything. Damn, I should have researched that. You got me there anyway. Definitely.
yeah. And I mean, you have definitely some experience like playing live, being a live musician, live band. Do you have one moment or memory maybe that's like your favorite live performance moment?
Well, I'm not sure about. I definitely have one of my maddest memories is when playing in the first band. I was a drummer. We were only about 16 or 17, I think. But because we were on last, we snuck out the back drinking because we're not supposed to drink in Ireland until 18. I think in America it's 21, is it?
Yeah.
So we were pretty wasted, and we were going to do Metallica's cover of Thin Lizzy, and Thin Lizzy were a famous Irish band. And I remember counting in four on the drumsticks, going one, two, three, and on the fourth count, I hit both drumsticks out of my hand, and when I bent down to pick up the sticks, I hit the cymbals and knocked the drum kit off the stage. That was definitely a memory I remember. As for something good, do you know what I reckon it was? Last April was our first time playing live with APE, and it was my first time playing live with a band in 17 years. And just hearing the applause after the first song, I think that was it. It was like, man, I didn't realize how much I missed this because I'd been recording music on my own here for 17 years. Like, it just kind of
Yeah.
all your friends are. That was definitely a highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great that I mean, not only do you have high and low moments, but you appreciate both of them. You don't just
Yeah,
like throw away the
there's,
bad ones.
I know there's stories like that. Again, I don't know if it's been stereotypical, but I think it is. Good thing about Irish people is we like telling stories. Like, so, whether it's bad or good, everyone gets a laugh out of it at your expense. And what we don't really care. Like, a lot of times, especially nowadays, you probably can't do that because you'd be seen as like talking bad about someone. But the bad stories are as good as the good ones.
Yeah, yeah.
As we say in
And
Ireland, we taking the piss out of each other. That's all we do.
yeah. And like in a similar vein, if you have sort of a dream venue or dream festival that you'd love to perform at, what would that be?
I suppose Glastonbury or Reading over in England. Are you familiar with those? Or
I
it'd
know
be pretty.
Glastonbury.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not so familiar with the other one.
see, like, I'm in August. I'm going to be 50. Andy's gone 60. Eamon, he's only. Geez, I actually don't know. I think he's immortal, actually, but no, I think he's in his 30s. But, like, I mean, that's why we're saying, why the hell couldn't have this happened like when we're in our 20s or 30s? But
Yeah.
another thing I think about that is because of COVID, everything was locked down. There's no, you couldn't go to a bar, live music was gone. So there's a mad like want for it from people. Like, so I think that's what another reason why anywhere like, I mean, because we're on Spotify now and we have our webpage, we can actually apply for festivals around Europe. As long, obviously we'd have to pay for them ourselves, but none of us have any. My only commitments here are my gaming PC, my two cats. Andy's already had his kids on that, and Eamon's kind of the same as me at home. So I suppose now is a good time actually to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually didn't realize like how disparate in age you guys were. I'm sure that's another like unique or interesting part of your band that a lot of the bands you look around and see people are, the same age or similar ages
Yeah,
and everything. And it's interesting that you have such a wide range. Does that like I guess does that affect your influences or like each person's sound at all?
yeah, yeah, kind of. As I was saying, Andy, because of the age he is, and if you're going to watch this later, Andy, I apologize, but he'd be into like I said, like 70s, like Hawkwind would be his favorite band, and Hawkwind would have been the band that Lemmy was in first, who was in Motorhead. They were very famous in the 70s, early 80s. And my favorite music then came later, which would be like thrash and death metal, like Metallica and all that, and Eamon's electronic stuff and Alice in Chains. So there is a gap in years, but it seems to kind of meld for us and for people listening, into something cohesive anyway. So it's good. Like, I mean, when we're together, we're as immature as like a 10-year-old kid. Like, so,
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
that as well. Like, but yeah, it definitely affects the sound and style. Like, my main input in the band would probably just be getting the sound when I'm recording here on my computer. Like, so, it's kind of a very metalish sound.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you only have the one album released with Ape so far, but, from that, like, album, do you have a favorite song in there?
Oh yeah, I, well, I have two, but Out of Sight is definitely because when we were doing it, I went to Andy, "Oh, can I have that song, please?" Because I want to add all these funky bass, make it more metal. He's like, "Okay, you can have that." But I think War Games would be my favorite, like because I like the kind of like this is my first time ever doing vocals and playing at the same time because I did always watching bands. I didn't know how they could play guitar and sing at the same time. So the fact I
Yeah.
can do that in that song, like, and that I'd probably say War Games would be my favorite. Now Andy has another 20 songs we have to get through now, so we've to start working on those as well during the weekends. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, so going forward, do you sort of already know what the next project or release is going to be, or do you just still have to work on all of them and get
I know,
one in a better shape than the others?
yeah, yeah, no, we're just going to keep working, and he's playing them to the. I said we play them so much together as a band, like that. When we play live, we kind of sound like we do on the CD. We're kind of tight. We just want to get that tightness back, as in like start the song properly and end it all together. Like, and we're just still going to do the other songs just because we want to have more for if we do get to play festivals around it, just to play more. We just like I'll be honest, when a lot of times I would set up my iPhone in the corner and would record ourselves playing. I'd bring back the mix and mix it, but I only do that so the three of us could sit down drinking beers, watching ourselves, kind of egotistical. But it's great, like because I haven't played in a band in so long. I'd sit back watching, going, "She's like, I can't believe that's me in that band now." So we're just gonna just keep doing it as we've been doing it. Like we didn't do it to be a band to play gigs. We just kept doing it. Because sure, we may as well play
Yeah,
live and see what people think.
yeah, nice. And I guess like maybe it is just keep playing live, see where it goes. But do you have a level in mind that you'd like to reach with this band? Do you want to sort of just ride it out, see where it goes, or are you actively working towards like being a big, rock band that can tour around?
Yeah, but that's kind of weird because I think the lads might think I'm slightly delusional. Maybe I am, like, but like when I heard that song "Fact of the Matter," we got that played on the radio. I went, "Do you know what? It's weird. I've been in bands before, but I've never been in a band where, like, I wonder if that song could possibly be a hit if it's played on the radio. So I'm the one that's gone on Twitter, Instagram, sending our stuff all over, and it's not to make it's just so maybe we could end up touring around the place for a few weeks because I work full time. I actually work for I'm a postman by day and a musician by night. So you know, it'd be great just to get our stuff out there. It's not for me. The lads might think different. It's not about fame or fortune. It's just about getting our music out there because where we live, music scene is completely dead. It's like
Yeah.
if you might maybe be in a cover band playing some Brian Adams songs or acoustic. And now it used to be a very big town for music, but just even to for people around the country and other bars to know us and offer us a gig. Like, I mean, every gig we played, we've been paid just whatever. It ended up like about $60 each, but I still haven't taken a cent out of it. I think once, you know, we use it for taxis and we bought some new equipment, but it's not about the money ever. But if because I mean, it's very hard to make money from music now. You know, I think bands only make 'em from touring now and that kind of stuff. Wouldn't be from selling albums or anything like that. But we just love doing it. We want to, as I said, Andy being in the '60s, me going into my '50s, we're like, let's go out with a blaze of glory. Let's do it at this stage of our life. So that's what I'm trying to do in the background, you see. And it seemed like we already have a really good review. We only released the album, got like the review was so good, and they complimented the bass so much that the lads were convinced that I wrote it or ChatGPT wrote it. But they're like, my God, our first review, and it was like they called it an experimental masterpiece. I've never been part of any masterpiece, so you know, I think it
Yeah.
kind of just came together from not trying too hard. Like,
Yeah. Well, apparently you've been part of a masterpiece and will probably be part of multiple more to come. So, yeah.
you hope you and thank. What about
Yeah.
yourself? What music do you listen to yourself?
Listening to, I'm favorite band is 21 Pilots. I don't know if you know them, but, really, really into them. And
Check them
then,
out.
uh, I also really like alright, I got a couple more bands that I listen
Go
to. I
on.
would say bands. Uh, AJR, who's more like pop music.
Okay.
Um, the Driver era, I've gotten really into their I guess it'd be like sort of like alt rock, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like they're definitely bringing sort of an older sound, but still trying to keep like it
In
in
with
the
it.
pop genre. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and then just the Beatles. I grew up in a Beatles family, and so like
Yeah.
since a child, Beatles have been like the band to go to.
Every band like I'd watch interviews with the heaviest band, like hanging like upside down crosses and singing about Satan and murder, and they're like, what got you into music? Oh, the Beatles. Every band.
Yeah.
I never got into them too much because I was one of those kids that kind of rebelled against what my parents were listening to. So I used to get some really heavy stuff and blared, and I'd be given out to them. But yeah, my parents were mad into the Beatles and that, but everyone were inspired by the Beatles. I
Yeah.
haven't heard of any of the other bands. What was the first band? They're not the band that did the music for No Man's Sky, you know. That's not them. 21
No.
Pilots. Oh,
No. No,
okay.
they did a song for Suicide Squad, the
Okay.
DC movie,
Hmm.
but I think that's the only soundtrack work they've done.
Still haven't seen that film actually. I
Yeah.
kind of got turned off
And
cinemas with
I
all.
actually think
Yep.
I don't know if it was ever confirmed or not, but there was, I think, allegations or rumors that they were part of the soundtrack for the new Top Gun movie, and then at
Okay.
some point
Yeah.
were, like, removed from the list or removed from
Oh, were
working
they?
on it.
I
But,
actually like that film.
yeah, yeah, it was a good movie.
It was actually, yeah, it was good fun. I've been so put off by movies recently, but that was the new Dune was excellent, but that was very good. I was very surprised. That Tom Cruise's films are always pretty good, no matter what you think of him personally. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully he's watching this now.
And maybe you can soundtrack one of his movies.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see
New
that.
Tom Cruise movie featuring music from Ape.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh, sorry, that would be great.
Yeah. Alright, well, I mean, those are all the questions I
That's
had for you
perfect.
today, so
Thank you so
Again,
much
right.
for coming on. Like website, socials, anything you want to promote, where can people find you online?
Well, the main one would be our website where it has all links to everything, which is www.apemusic, but music with a Z, because that's the only thing .com. And you find everything there. And again, thank you for breaking my Zoom virginity. And I will forward it on to the lads. And I'm sure if you have a link for it, it'd be great. And thank you very much, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you again for coming on. And yeah, can't wait to
Take
hear
care.
the any new music you have.
We'll keep in contact. Anyway, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you.